So the Supreme Court just ruled that many tariffs are illegal, and let's talk about what that means for you. So a few days ago, as of recording this, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that many of Trump's tariffs that were imposed in 2025 weren't actually legal. The interesting thing is it's going to be somewhat infuriating for consumers to see how this plays out. So first, let's talk about what happened. So last year, a bunch of additional tariffs were imposed on multinational corporations that many of them produce their goods overseas, and it was meant to try to drive production stateside as well as punish those individuals who were not doing as much economic activity in the United States. So many of those companies had to pay additional costs to get their goods here to the ports and to the consumers of the United States. So they wrote the check to the U.S. government, but they just turned around and passed those additional costs on to us consumers. So on average, U.S. households experienced an additional $1,000 in inflation last year on all the goods, electronics, groceries that they purchased due to tariffs. The frustrating part, though, is now that these tariffs are deemed illegal, it's looking like many of these companies will actually get refunded all the money they paid in. So in short, we as consumers paid an additional tax and that was passed down to us in the form of a tariff, but the companies that collected the revenue are actually getting a refund of the tax that was paid. So it would be nicer if those refunds were paid out to consumers to stimulate the economy. Unfortunately, you could argue they might just stimulate shareholders, but I'm curious what you think about this recent development and what it means for you, your family, and the economy as a whole.